Are we back? It's almost as if I couldn't wait for Sarati and my lady to leave the building. Adana, I'm sorry. I just had to kick you out. Can everybody see me? Am I on the live sesh? Unfortunately, I couldn't use my laptop to get this video on. So let me see. Is everybody live? Okay, let me know. Hi Queeness, what's up? How are you? It's almost like I couldn't wait to get them out so that we can start our financial health discussion. I think this is the moment we've been waiting for. Who agrees with me? I know it's been a fantastic time, so much learning about how to monetize, learning about branding, learning or assessing your potential, your purpose. Hey, my girl is online. We can't wait. Temitope Oshin, I can't wait to even speak to you today. Like, I am a fan, great fan. I would invite you in a bit as soon as I see you on my feed. All right, everyone. So Temitope, I need you to make a comment or something so that I can bring you on the search. Why am I so proud? Peleo, I'm that good. That's the standard. Okay, I'm glad to have you all here. I'm excited. I know that with the current situation, in the current yeah, we are fine, we are ready. With the current situation and the current economic situation, it's important for us to have this session right now and for us to pretty much discuss on how we can make ourselves more financially literate. So it's not like we did not go to school. Oh. All of us went to school. We went to school. We are good students of our teachers. You understand? But sometimes literacy is not really about. It's not really about going to school. It's more or less knowing what to do at this particular time to ensure that you're doing great with your finances. And Tope is an expert in this field. I'm trying to look for Tope so that I can invite her on. But okay, you can request for me to add it to my video if that works for you. Please try and let me be able to invite you on my sesh. So we're going to be learning a lot. I don't think that Temitope requires a lot of what you call it, intro, but I would do well to introduce her very well because she is an enigma. She's a firebrand. Oh wow. Why is this thing falling in my hands now? It didn't fall in my hand throughout this week when I've been testing this thing. I need to find a way to invite you to watch, to join me. Temitope, if you can see me, please help me request so that I can. So I've sent a request. If you can accept my request, it'll be very helpful. Yes, I think if you can make a request, Queeness, if you can help me to kind of put her through the process, because Facebook can be a bit funny for some people, including myself. So it's not like we are any different. Our time is going. We have a lot of things to talk about today, but let's get the ball rolling. Temitope, can you hear us? Please, help me. Or you can just wave. If you wave, I think I can click on it to bring you on. Unfortunately, I can't find you on the platform. I hope it's not because I'm using my phone. Femi, is there something you can do to help me with this so that I can bring Temitope on? Now we can begin. Okay, no, it's not that kind of waving. Okay, she just waved. I've seen you. Let's see what I can do with my phone. It's not working. Can you request that can you make a request to join the video? Do you see that button to make a request to join the video? There's a green icon that shows like a face and a screen. So just click on it and it helps you to Tope, you can use your phone. If you use your phone, there is a green icon in like a video, and it kind of shows your face. So just click on it and request to join my video. It'll be helpful if you can do that, because I can't see you on the list to invite you. Oh no. I didn't know there was a filter on Facebook. Wow, just look at that. Amazing. Amazing. Okay, so please thank you so much, guys, for helping me. And just for you guys to get a bit of context with what we're doing today, we're really pretty much going to be talking about financial literacy and how, as young business owners or as young individuals, we can start accessing different investment portfolios and different options. As a millennial, you cannot afford to be a lazy investor or be afraid of taking risk when it comes. But you must also do it from a place of knowledge. You must also do it from a place of having an action plan that works well with your lifestyle. It's also important for you to understand that within this space, it doesn't matter where you start from or how fast you can grow, but it's important for you to have that background knowledge of pretty much what you can do at this point. I think I'll use this time to kind of introduce my guests. Temitope Oshin works as an internal consultant with First Bank, and if we know anything about First Bank, we know that First Bank has lived for at least, or has lived, let me use the word lived, for at least 100 years. And if there's something that they are doing to maintain that longevity of years, it means that they're doing very well. So her first part of knowledge is from an institution that has done great over time. She works there to be able to drive strategy and implement projects, particularly as it relates to financial knowledge and consulting, as the case may be. She's also worked as a financial analyst and investment banker in different organizations, so you are in good hands. And most importantly, she runs a private finance club, a finance and investment club for millennials, about 50 of them, and they've done up to 50 million naira in worth of investment. I think it is something that we all need to learn, because if we rely on only one source of income at this particular time, we are a very, very long something. So it's important for us to hear from the professional herself, so that we're able to make informed decisions when it comes to our investment portfolios and things that we desire as individuals. Has anybody found a way to help me out of this dilemma? I've sent the invite. All right, Temitope, if you can connect to your phone, it'll be very helpful. Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much, Femi, for that. Thank you so much. I'm so glad I have a team of supporters. Right now, I feel like giving all of you puff, but it might not be in alignment with investment, so I'm just going to keep that to myself, as the kids were. All right, who wants to be singing praises and thanksgiving to us? But I think that I'll just use the opportunity and talk a little bit about repositioning yourself within this COVID-19 period. A lot of people are talking about post-COVID. What am I going to do post-COVID? Where do I start post-COVID? And I don't want us to rely on that victim mentality where we are like, oh, okay, I should send the pop-up. I will. I promise I will. I don't want us to rely on that victim mentality where we are asking ourselves, next for me, what do I do? Or you keep sleeping on that train that says coronavirus is a myth. It's not a myth. It's here to stay with us. And like I always say to people, crisis situations always tug at you to evolve. crisis situations always tug at you and your inner self to be able to evolve. And so how are you evolving? How are you changing the status quo from where you currently are? How are you making the best use and milking all of the opportunities around you? They're just simple steps for you to take and simple steps that you can use at this moment to get things done for you. First things first, it's important for you to scan your environment. Scan your environment for what winners are existing at this moment. Femi understands that monetizing is a great information or is a great winner for people at this point, because people are thinking, how do I get off a recession? How do I invest my money? And so he has created a platform that helps you to understand exactly how to monetize using your skills, how to, get out of financial crisis, and how to do XYZ. So he has done it. And so you must also think about who are the winners within my environment. In my own small opinion, there are so many winners within this space. A lot of people are teaching their kids online. So online tutoring is a winner at this time. Everybody must eat. Man must work. So food is a fantastic winner within this environment. Essential tools, hygiene, immune boosters. These are environments that people are looking to, that are winners within this environment. A lot of people have time on their hands, so they are taking to baking, they are taking to trying new stuff. Where are you in that ecosystem? Where are you in that space? Beyond that, a lot of organizations are working from home. They are doing things in their home and on all of that. So the question really is that, why are you not supporting with, security and data backup? Why are you not supporting all of the security interface that have been needed at this particular point in time? Most people are also at home for things to buy and order. So logistics is also a winner in this space. So having mentioned a few of the winners within this space, the question right now is that, how do you plug into this right now? Are your skills pretty much, do you have the right skills to be able to plug into this space? Is there anything that you need to upskill yourself or you need to do better for you to be able to access this space and do better? These are things that you need to start considering at this moment. What are the things you need to be doing at this time? Are there skills for you right now? For instance, there is a switch in the logistics space, whereby people are now using robots, or organizations are now using robots to be able to deliver their products, or even using drones to deliver their products to people who need them. The question is that, if you had an engineering degree 6 years ago, do you think it will still be necessary at this point, particularly with where the market is going to? So it's very important for you to also understand the language of the market and the direction the market is going to, and even what the dictates of the market is at this particular point in time, so you can also align your skills to them. Yes, everybody's talking about upskilling, everybody's talking about knowledge, bringing your knowledge to bear and stuff like that, but you also need to pace yourself and ask yourself, what is my own strategy? What is my own picture? What is my own big picture? What direction do I want to go with my life and in my business? And so once you have that big picture and you understand that strategy, you can now start to scale back and ask yourself, what action plans will take me there? Now, another thing I want us to consider at this particular point is something that I've been kind of touched on in our first conversation, which is really about collaboration. At this particular point in time, the market space requires people who are very flexible, people who are fast enough to be able to respond to their needs, and provide speed. So with that sort of speed, what do you need to do now to grow? You need collaboration to grow. Right? At this point, we are collaborating with Facebook to be able to put our videos on here to speak. Right? You need to ask yourself, who are people within my tribe that can help me to grow? Who can I collaborate with that can help me to grow? I always use this really fantastic example about Farm Crowdy and Ecomart and how they collaborated together to pretty much grow what they have. Farm Crowdy has access to to the farm produce to the farm producers, to the farmers and the agribusiness, and Ecomart has the database of people who would require this product. So they have come together to create what we call Lagos Mart now, and people can go there, order and shop, and everybody within the ecosystem is enjoying themselves. So the question for you is that, what can you do right now to evolve? What can you do right now to collaborate? For some of you, it might be that the people on your contact list, on your phones, the people on your contact list is what you need to collaborate. So say, for instance, my brother does the best grills ever. I know that I cannot grill at the pace that he does, but I have a list of people on my database who want to eat, right? I can decide to say, you know what, I'll give you the people, you cook the food, we revenue share, and we grow a business. So it's very important for you to start thinking in that way. Now, one more thing before my guest comes is, have you been able to assess your value chain, the value chain of your product? Because for every single product, there is a value chain. So at what point are you? So if we say agri, for instance, there is the farmers, there is the processing, there is the logistics, there's the actual cooked food, there is the actual fresh farm produce, there is the actual animal produce, horticulture. There are different dimensions to farming, for instance. So what part of the ecosystem do you belong to? What part is most crowded? What part is less crowded? Where can you plug yourself into? Where can you plug your current skills into? It's very important. And that is still the concept of understanding how much you are able to squeeze everything that is within your environment so you can get the best out of it. So say, for instance, you sew clothes. Your garment is basically supposed to cover the body, right? Did we ever think that we'll be creating garments to cover the nose? Do you ever think so? So how much more can you do within your space? You're frying puff-puff, for instance. Everybody talks about how amazing your puff-puff and your akara is. Hello? Is there a point where you can say, you know what, you can recreate the same results in your home? All I need to do is to package my puff-puff mix and send it to you so you can have the same experience at the expense, at the comfort of your home, right? Is there a point where people say, oh, I like the fact that you have fresh produce, but mango is always out of season all the time because I love mangoes? Is there a way you can dry up mango and send it to me and say, you know what, this is the last bit I can squeeze out of my mango, and I can send it to you and it becomes a product you use? So how are we thinking, within this environment, within this system, to be able to ensure that we are milking dry all that we have within our system? Now, there is a blessing that this period gives to us. There's time for us to reconnect with ourselves. There's time for us to rebuild. There's time for us to retool. There's time for us to map our actions. There is time for us to grow. There is time for us to build relationships. There is time for us to, collaborate. There's time for us to do all of this, because we realize that the time that you could have used to be going for your Owambe and going for your this has been eradicated by the government. So you have a lot of time to do all the amazing things you have always desired to do. So don't sleep on the long thing. Don't think that this period is supposed to send you packing. Don't think that there is no hope in this period. There is hope, and there's a lot that you can do, particularly within this time. So don't let it go. Now, another thing I want to pretty much talk about, because I talk too much, is just to close until my guest comes up, is that you must learn to focus on your focus. There's a lot of noise going on right now within the market space, and pretty much I asked a question about it earlier, not because I needed answers to it per se, but I also needed to ensure that other people understood the power of your own voice. Other people understood the power of strengthening your voice in the midst of chaos. Other people understand the concept of trusting your voice in the midst of chaos. These are pretty much interesting times that we belong to. There's so many voices around. People are saying different things, saying different things. So if you don't understand what your focal point is, if you don't understand what it is you pretty much want to achieve, it will be easy for you to be swayed in different directions. So I'll just leave you with one thing I always tell many of the businesses I work with, is that find your atom, right? Find your atom. Find the one thing that is the center of these cells that you have around you. Find that one thing, and then maybe that one thing might be that you want to be the best investment banker in the world, or you want to be known as the best organization that sells the cheapest array of products and services on the block, but still full of quality. Maybe that atom for you is that you want to be the best brand designer in the world. Now you sit down with yourself and ask yourself, or with your team if you have a team, and ask, what are the things that are going to amplify this small atom that we have? Maybe what is going to amplify it is putting out the right content. Maybe it's ensuring that every customer touch point, is being assessed. Maybe it is to have an array of product, or maybe an e-commerce supply chain that can help you bring your products and services to life. Maybe it's about what else? Maybe it's pretty much about getting into the right newspapers. Maybe it's about doing this, doing that, and all of the things that would make that atom to grow. Now, the reason you're doing this is because you want to stay true to who you are. In fact, I wrote that thing down as something when the Holy Spirit inspired me with that word. Let me see if I can remember. You want to stay pretty much true to who you are. I can't find the Jerry. My children have finished drawing in my notes. But you pretty much want to stay true to who you are as a business, but be able to reinvent yourself according to the things that are going on in the market space. Hear me when I say it. You want to remain true to who you are and why you started. Okay, so she's waving. Oh, man. Yay. Approve. How excited. How exciting. Hello. Oh, hi. How are you?
Hi, guys.
Hey.
I'm very well. Good morning.
Good morning. It's so exciting to have you
I
here.
am so sorry. I haven't used... Oh my God, guys, I am super sorry. I haven't updated my Facebook app in forever, and I thought I could join through my laptop. So I
figured.
sincerely apologize.
No, it's okay. We understand, and we are very happy to have you. How family, how
Yeah,
you doing? How you coping with the whole COVID situation? Hope it's not taking a toll
very
on
well.
you and stuff. Okay, fantastic. It's important for us to get right into it. We are pretty much, down in the time that has been given to us. So I must say that I'm a big fan. Anybody who is
Yeah,
out there to help me to, maintain my
thank
finances
you.
and have a better financial health, I am all for it. It's Temitope Oshin. What would you want me to call you? Tope or Temi?
You can call me Tope.
All right,
Tope.
fantastic. So Tope works as an internal consultant at the First Bank of Nigeria. And like I said to you guys before, a company that has stayed for over 100 years, they must be doing something right for them to be in that space. So if you're going to be learning, you're
Yes.
learning from the best, right? She also has a community of over 50 members, and together they have invested more than 50 million. In this time and age in Nigeria, they have invested more than 50 million. So if you've been asking a question about, okay, how can I save? How can I invest? How can I be a smart investor? How can I be a more confident investor? Well, join me and give a virtual
Mhm.
ovation to my amazing enigma, Miss Temitope Oshin. Clap for her. I want to see the claps. I want to see the claps. So without further thank you so much for being here with us. Now,
Thank you,
without
everyone.
further ado, and without
Thank you
wasting
for having me.
we are glad to have you here. Let's just pretty much get into it. Now, with the looming recession, single digit treasury bills, the exchange rate going topsy-turvy, really, how can a salary earner become a confident investor? Is there sort of like a roadmap or a framework for building sustainable wealth, particularly in uncertainty?
Okay, all right. So, initially I prepared a presentation that I was going to do. I just figured out last minute that we're going to have a Q&A first. And one of the things I detailed in that presentation is how you can start in the midst of a recession. So basically, you want to evaluate your current financial state, right? It's not just about jumping into investing because you have some excess money or because you don't know what to do right now. Like at the moment, right? And how much can you afford to invest? Because there's a lot of things you want to take into consideration before you start investing money. Do you have debts that have to be repaid? Have you just been let go from your job? Right now, because of the recession, because of the COVID-19 effects, companies are laying off staff, salaries are being reduced. So it's important that you take all of this into consideration before you start to invest money. Right now, you want to survive first before you start making plans for the future. And what that would entail is taking a first step back to access yourself, right? How much do you have as income? How much are you, putting towards your expenses? Don't assume, don't say, oh, okay, I spend X amount on fuel. No, take time to write it down. Use an Excel sheet, use an app. There's so many apps out there that allow you to easily budget for your money. So leverage on those kind of platforms to be able to determine how much you're currently spending, and based on your spending plan you can now decide how much you can decide to invest. Remember, in this period of uncertainty, you want to think long term. We're not going to be here forever as an economy or as a nation. Things are definitely going to eventually pick up, so you want to think long term while you start to invest money.
All right, fantastic. So I understand the concept of investing long time and really planning, but
Yes.
I would really want you to take us through sort of like a framework, a step by step framework of I'm a
Mm.
young investor, I'm a young entrepreneur, I'm a young salary earner, and I know that the future is bleak. I just don't
Mm-hmm.
want to walk into investments. I just don't want to walk into investment blindly. I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to do stuff without having somebody to back
Mm-hmm.
me up or let me know what I can
Mm.
look at in terms of what investments make sense, how much I can let go of, what can I do. So can you just take us through a step by step
Mm.
framework that would help me to be a more
Mm-hmm.
confident investor and somebody who wants to be able to who can just have an investment portfolio and I can look up to? Do I have to have a lot of money now or can I start small? What can I
Mm-mm.
do?
Okay. All right. So step number one, I'm going to summarize it this way. Step number one, know your financial position. Your financial position basically speaks to what are your assets, what are your liabilities, right? How much do you have as cash? How much do you have in investment? If you have a car, what's the market value of that car? Then access your liabilities. Do you have any debts? Are you paying back any mortgage? Do you have any interest? Once you are able to know where you stand, it's easy to be able to create a pathway to where you want to be. You've accessed your assets, you've accessed your liabilities, then create a spending plan for yourself. A spending plan is also known as a budget. You're pretty much looking at your various sources of income and how you intend to spend that money maybe over a period of time. So for example, if you're a salary earner that earns 100K and maybe you have investment that's paying you like 10,000 naira, together you have an income of maybe 110,000 naira in a month. Take time to list out how you intend to spend that money over the coming period. We're coming to the end of May and we're going into June. Take time to determine how much you want to spend in June. Once you've created a spending plan, it's easier for you to navigate. It's easier for you to be able to say, okay, based on my spending plan, this is how much I can afford to invest. The mistake a lot of people make is that when they receive any kind of money, they just go ahead and spend it. They don't have a plan. They don't have, something that is guiding how they will spend their money. So they bought the latest bag, or they've gone for an event with their friends, or they've decided that, oh, I'll do this, I'll do that. And before you know what, all the money you've made is gone. So have a plan for your money. I always tell people, if you don't tell your money where to go, your money will ride you. Your money will spend you instead of you spending your money. So have a plan for your money. List out your income. List out your expenses. See how much you can afford to save conveniently. Now, there's a spending plan of 50, 30, 20. They say use 50% for your expenses. Use 30%, 20% to be saved and invested, and then 30% as maybe emergency funds. You can create a spending plan for yourself. That's not a cast in stone. Just do what works for you. The important thing is that you know how you're spending your money, so you can decide how much you want to save and how much you want to invest. So that's step number one, create your spending plan. After you've created your spending plan, step number two, define your financial goal. Now that you know where your money is going and you know how much you can save and how much you can invest, set a goal for yourself. Don't just walk, helter-skelter. Have a defined direction that you're working towards. And when you're setting a goal, you're thinking both long-term and short-term. Ask yourself, in the next 10 years, how much do I want to be worth? How much do I want to have in investment? How much do I want to have in savings? How much do I want to have in assets? These are questions that you need to answer. So if you tell yourself that, oh, for example, in the next 10 years, I want to be worth 10 million naira, and taking into consideration your spending plan, you believe that you can work towards that 10 million naira. Then you now break it down into short-term goals. What do I need to achieve in this year to take me closer to being worth 10 million naira in 10 years? Guys, right? So let me use a very clear example. Take, for example, you're earning 200,000 naira every month, right? And you've done your spending plan. You've looked at all your expenses. You've looked at your household bills, your debts, maybe your rent, and all of that. And you see that from your spending plan, you can afford to save 100,000 naira from your salary every month. What that means is that you can set a realistic goal that in the next 1 year, I'm going to set aside that 100K and put it in an investment and have 1.2 million naira in investment over the next 12 months. So every month, constantly, you are setting aside 100,000 naira and you're putting it in investments. Initially, it might look like a small amount. It might look like, oh, wow, how do I really want to get to 1.2 million? But if you are consistent in setting aside that amount and putting it in investment, you realize that in 12 months, you already have 1.2 million naira sitting as investments in different, options that you've set aside for yourself. And that can boil back into your long-term plan of having 10 million in 10 years. Because in the first year, you've been able to achieve your 1.2 million. By the second year, you're working at it again. You're saving consistently. You're investing consistently. And guess what? If in 5 years, you're already worth more than 5 million naira. It's really having a financial goal that you've defined for yourself. What do I want to be worth at this period? And it might not be investment, it might be debt, because I've realized that so many millennials, unfortunately, are tied down in debt. It might be, I want to pay off my debt in the next 2 years, or I want to be debt free in the next 2 years. In order to be able to achieve this, how much do I need to pay off now? What do I need to do now? How can I leverage on other sources of income? You see, the key to building sustainable wealth is in these 3 words, right? I call it the MSI. Make money, save money, invest money. If you can successfully implement that, trust me, sooner or later, you will create for yourself sources of income that you could never have imagined. But you have to be consistent in implementing it. As you're making money, make sure you're saving part of it, and don't just leave it sitting down in a bank account that is not earning anything significant. Make sure that you're putting that money to work for you via investments.
Fantastic. This is really amazing. I mean, I just, by even understanding what your spending limits are, defining a goal, and having a long-term goal, these are pretty much important things that I have put down. And the MSI pretty much is very important. Another question I want to ask at this point is that what investment options can we look at? Now, I'm telling you from a point of view where you have an investment club. Together, all of you have done about 50 million in investment. Is it that the information is reserved for a few, or we don't know because we are illiterate, or there's a problem somewhere, So how do we even know what instruments to invest in? How do we know what tools? How do we know what investments which are business for us? Should we be investing ourselves thin, or should we be investing ourselves, in just sizable chunks of investment? What sort of investment tools can we look out for out there, or investment options?
All right. Okay, so basically there are diverse, there's so many. I always say that ignorance is one of the reasons why people don't invest. It's because they don't know, and they're not ready to pay to know, or take the next step in order to know. But there's so many investments out there that you can leverage on. But I also speak to what you need to take into consideration before you invest your money, right? Because what we invest in sometimes will be completely different from what you would invest in, because we're different in terms of our risk appetite, investment objectives, and so many other things like that. But speaking to your question, what can you invest in? Now, number one, you have mutual funds. Mutual funds is basically one of the easiest ways for any millennial or any individual to invest their money. And I'm sure many of us might have probably heard about it at one time or the other. How it works is an investment company pulls money from different investors. So they take your 10,000 naira, they take my 10,000 naira, they take somebody else's 100,000 naira. They're able to pull a huge sum. And so they leverage on the power of numbers to be able to command a high rate for all of us. So as against maybe we're going to go and invest our 5,000 by ourselves or our 10,000 by ourselves, we give it to this investment company who's able to give us a higher rate of, say, maybe 10% or 15%, and then we get it. It's very easy. There's so many mutual funds out there. And please let me just put a caveat. There are different types of mutual funds. A mutual fund is defined based on the type of financial instruments that they invest in. So for example, if a mutual fund is investing in the stock market, that's called an equity-based mutual fund. And so it's going to fluctuate very easily because, as we all know, the stock market is full with prices going up and prices coming down. So any mutual fund that is investing there is definitely going to be, subject to a lot of fluctuations. And also we have mutual funds that will focus on the money market. The money market is the least risk, free market, because there's a lot of guarantees. It's short term and you easily make your money back. So that's what people usually take advantage of. When you invest in the money market, your capital is preserved. So if you put your 100,000 naira in a mutual fund that is focused on the money market, you can be guaranteed that your 100,000 naira is safe. And then you're just going to be earning interest bit by bit on that. But if you put your 100,000 in an equity-based mutual fund, that might not be the case. Today, you can be told that your 100,000 is now 90K because the prices of the stocks that they invested in has gone down. Or tomorrow, you can be told that it has risen up. So these are things that you need to take into consideration before you put your money down in a mutual fund. Find out what type of mutual fund is it. Is it equity-based? Is it money market-based? Is it fixed income-based? Is it even dollar-based? Because we have dollar-based mutual funds as well. There's more funds that invest in foreign currencies like dollars and all of that. So that's one investment option that you can leverage on. Another investment option that you can easily leverage on is Treasury Bills. Treasury Bills are offered by virtually any bank that is currently in existence. All you need to do is walk into your bank and say, you know what, I'd like to purchase Treasury Bills. And if you don't want to go into your bank because you're afraid of Corona catching you outside, there are apps that you can leverage on. There's what we call iInvest. iInvest is a platform that has made it seamlessly easy for individuals to take advantage of Treasury Bills. All you do is go to your app store, download the iInvest app, and with a minimum of 100K, you can purchase Treasury Bills and other, instruments that they offer via that platform. So that's another place where you can invest your money. You can also invest in real estate. Now, real estate is very capital intensive, and a lot of people are usually very scared that, oh, how do I have that kind of money? How will I have that kind of money? But if you're saving consistently, remember I mentioned the principle earlier on, I called it the MSI. If you're making money and you're saving money and you're actively investing, at some point you would have enough money. Yes, you have a question? Should
So
I
I'm
go
going to
on?
ask you. You can go on, but I'll ask after
Okay.
about MS. I'll come back to that. Yeah, go ahead.
All right then. So if you're making money, if you're saving money and you're indeed investing money, you would have some spare cash at some point in time to be able to take advantage of real estate. And I'm aware that there are real estates that are as affordable as 600,000, 800,000, and even 1 million towards Ibejuleki. You may not be able to afford that kind of amount now, but you can work towards affording that kind of amount. Also, secondly, there are platforms that have made it easier for people to invest in real estate. One of such platforms is called Corium. Corium is a platform that allows individuals to pool money together and invest in real estate. So with as little as 20,000 naira, 35,000 naira, 15,000 naira, you can go on Corium and buy a unit of real estate. So Corium has just basically, made real estate cheaper for everybody to invest in. And it's a platform that is backed up by FBN trustees. So you know that you're not giving your money to some private individual who's going to run away with it. It's actually a legitimate and well-registered investment. So that's real estate for you. And then there's shares. There's shares. You mentioned earlier on that we're in a crisis and the recession is looming. One of the things that a lot of investors are doing now is taking advantage of the stocks market, because prices right now are rock bottom. Businesses are not doing as well as they are supposed to be doing. Investors are very scared and are very skeptical about what direction the economy is going to go towards. And so people are pulling out their money, and what that means is that stock prices are going down. And one of the persons I really admire, Warren Buffett, he has a saying that guides his investment. Warren Buffett is one of the richest men in the world. He said, when people are afraid, that is when you should make confident decisions. When people are pulling out of the stocks market and running away, that is when you should go in. Prices are low in the stocks market. So what that means is that if you go there and buy a stock for maybe 1 naira or 2 naira, if it's a good buy, not just because the price is low, because the fundamentals are right, so you've spoken to your stockbroker or your financial advisor. If it's a good buy, over the next 5-10 years, that 1 naira can become 100 naira, it can become 150 naira. So there's the stocks market that you can take advantage of, but please make sure you're going in for the long term. You don't go into the stocks market today with the hope of cashing out tomorrow or with the hope of cashing out next month. It's a long-term investment. And so there are also agri-tech platforms, fixed income. There's so many of them. I can't even go into the details because of the time that we have here this morning.
All right.
So yeah, those are just a number of investment options.
So thank you so much for those investment options. I have 2 questions, I think 3, before we open it up for the crowd to ask questions. Now, you mentioned agri-based investment, you mentioned real estate, but I want to ask, I'm around agricultural investments, forex, euro bonds. What are the peculiarities? Are there advantages and disadvantages that a new investor who's looking to, invest long term, are there disadvantages and advantages that they should be looking out for? Because, not everybody has the backing of the stockbroker or the backing of a financial expert to help us along the way. So within this investment option that you have called, agribusiness, forex, euro bonds, treasury bills, like you mentioned, are there peculiarities or advantages or disadvantages that we should look out for?
Okay, all right. So thank you. That's a very important question. Before you invest your money, it's not all rosy, right? You don't want to commit money into a place and then be told that the value of that investment has gone down. So every investment option has its peculiarities. Now, I mentioned something before I spoke about different investment options. Before you invest your money, there are a few questions you need to answer. Number 1, what is your risk appetite? Do you like to take risk? Are you averse to risk? Because guess what? If you're risk averse and you're putting your money in a risk-based option, the day that investment option crashes down, you find yourself maybe jumping off the bridge or something because you don't have the heart. You don't have the heart to take risk. So you need to ask yourself, what is your risk appetite? That's number 1. Number 2, what is your investment objective? Why are you investing? Are you investing to preserve capital? Are you investing to grow, to earn income? Are you investing long term? Are you investing short term? Because this will determine whether an advantage is there for you or a disadvantage is there for you. You need to answer all of these questions. So that's speaking to questions you need to answer before you invest. Now, every investment option has an element of risk. That's why you see low risk, medium risk, or high risk. You never hear no risk, right? Advantage, first of all, is knowing that when you're investing, you are going to be involving yourself in some form of risk. So back to what is your risk appetite. If you can take risk, go ahead and go for options like equity. Equity is high risk because the prices can go down at any time. People have lost billions and millions from putting their money in equity. That's stocks market, what we know as the stocks market, right? And people have also made millions from the same stock exchange market. So have this in your mind that when you're going into the equities or when you're going to purchase stocks, number one, you're thinking long term. You're buying at 2 naira, and if the price goes to 1 naira, you're not going to be afraid and go and sell it off. No, you wait patiently for the price to go from that 1 naira to maybe 5 naira or whatever it is. So those are some of the disadvantages, the risk that is involved, and you address these disadvantages by determining your risk appetite. The advantage is obviously passive income. When you invest in mutual funds, for example, mutual funds pay every quarter. Every quarter you're earning, depending on the amount that you've invested, maybe you're earning some good 50k or 10k or whatever it is that you're earning. That's the advantage of having investment. You get that alert hitting your account, and you feel good. In the midst of a recession, people are running up upside down, running up and down, but you are standing strong because you have investments, right? So mutual funds will give you income every quarter. That's the beauty of money market. I want to re-emphasize of money market mutual funds. They don't have too much risk because of the kind of instruments that they invest in, right? And then you also mentioned the agri-tech platforms as well. Agri-tech is high risk, right? I'm sure some of us have heard of platforms like Tribe Agri, Farm Crowdy, Agro Partnerships. These are platforms that help you to invest in the agricultural sector. So what they do is they tell you, bring a certain amount, maybe 10,000 naira, and then after 6 months, we will give you a return of 12%. That 12% is high risk. What that means is that something can happen. The farms can maybe get burnt, or the insurance company does not pay the amount they say they're going to pay. So those are the disadvantages of investing in those kind of platforms. I hope I've been able to answer your question.
Yes, you have. It's such a short time and with really, really massive
Okay.
insight. I would really want to continue on and on, but we have a few minutes. One thing I want to leave us with is a practical example of what we can do going forward. So there are 2 questions I'm going to ask you. So the faster you can answer them, the better for us. So the first question is, what percentage of my income should I MSI? I think I like that. What percentage of my income should I MSI? And the second question is that the fact that we need financial investors or stockbrokers to help us with our investment decision. So how can we access this your 50 million naira group? Because me, I want. Do you understand? So those are the 2 questions I have left for you.
Okay, sorry, can you repeat your second question? I didn't get the second question.
So the second question I asked really is that how can we then access some of these investments that you have within your group? Is there a way to join in? What do we need to do? So those are the 2 questions. The first one is what?
Okay, all right. So yeah, so how to determine what income you should channel towards investment under MSI, right?
Yeah.
There's several rule of thumbs that people have come up with, but one of the rule of thumbs that I'm extremely comfortable with is called the 50-30-20. Now you can tweak it to work for you in whatever, because I don't know what the nature of your expenses are until you do your budget before you can really determine how much you can save and invest. But if you want to work with that 50-30-20, what it says is that 50% of your income should go towards your expenses. So your household expenses, maybe your feeding, your transport, generator, fuel, and things like that. That's about 50%. Now you take 30% and you invest 30% of that income, right? 30% is being very, I wouldn't say very ambitious, because not many people can actually afford to invest 30% of their income. And then that the 20% you should give it to charity. That's a rule. Like I said, you can tweak it to work for you. You might not do 50-30-20, right? You can do 60 expenses, 60% of your income for your expenses, and then you're going to invest the remaining 40%. You can do 70-30, you can do 80-20. So it really boils down to, what does your budget tell you, right? When you prepare your budget, when you look at your income and you look at it alongside your expenses, how much can you really afford to consistently save honestly, because my yours will be different from the next person's, and the next person's will be different. That's because all of us, our expenses vary. Some of us, we can be very is it thrift worthy or very thrifty. We can, mice and keep ourselves at a very low level of expenses, while some of us, we are very exuberant with our expenses. We are flashy, we like nice stuff, and we still want to invest. So your expenses will determine what amount you can invest. So that's in response to your first question. Just create a principle that works for you: 60/40, 70/30, 80/20, depending on what works for you. And then secondly, to access some of these investments that I've mentioned, if you want to access mutual funds, any investment company can help you out with mutual funds. So you can, some of the top investment companies that I know of that you can work with, there is FBN Quest, there is Cordros Capital, there's asset management. Everybody knows Stanbic IBTC as well. Asset management. There's Vertiva. So all of these companies specialize in helping you and I invest in mutual funds. All you need to do is just check them online, just Google their names, get their contact numbers, call them, and tell them that you're interested in investing. They would open and they welcome you with a wide embrace to invest with them. So that's for mutual funds. And also for Treasury Bills. For Treasury Bills, you can download the app I Invest. All right. Download I Invest in order to be able to invest in Treasury Bills. And I think and Tribe Agric after this session online, and you see so many options that you can leverage on through those platforms. Yeah.
Much, my amazing,
Thank you,
fantastic, phenomenal
everyone.
speaker today. It was amazing to hear about all this financial information. I'm sure by now we have been schooled and nobody has any excuse anymore to be financially illiterate. At least right now we understand the kind of investments that are available for us. We understand the agri-based investment, treasury bills, euro bonds. We understand the advantages and disadvantages. We know about Corium now. We know about the iInvest app. So there is no excuse really for anybody. And the truth is that you need to understand that you don't have to have 1 million naira to start your investment. You can start, with a little amount of money and have the mindset of a long-term investor. And trust me, you will have yourself to thank for it if you take that decision. So thank you so much, Temitope Oshin. Without further ado,
Thank you.
I'm not sure that I have any questions. People just want you to put down some of the apps that you talked about. Somebody just wants you to put down some of the apps you talked about, but I'm sure you can put that later on in the box. So
all right, absolutely. I'll drop down the group.
All right, fantastic. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
We had a great time.
Thank you.
And bye, guys. If you have any questions, drop them. I will ensure Temitope responds to them later on, and I'll see you again on our next session. Ciao, ciao.
All right. Thank you.
Smile, please. I need to take a selfie. Smile. Awesome, fantastic. Alrighty. See you again on the other side. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you guys for being good spots. See you again. Bye bye. Oh, they were asking what your platform is called.